We'll hit on that a little bit here. All right. Woo, boy, I tell you what. You know what we like to do here? We like to get the wide out. Eagle fans like to get the wide out. That never happened. That never happened. That never happened. Wait, Sills, don't bring that up. Are you crazy, man? Give me the wide out. Did guy have a meltdown? No, this never happened. This never happened. It never fucking happened. Wait a minute. Did that guy have a nuclear meltdown last year? No. You saw a mirage. Oh, okay. The 2-2 start. No. He's 10-2. You crazy? He's the coach of the year. So you've given him a hall pass. Out of sight, out of mind. 10-2. Love it. Hey, and where you get a ton of that bullshit is my next guest. Folks, the co-host, our friend of Birds 365, it is our friend, Zander Krause.
What's up, Big Sills? Football Friday, baby. It's treating me amazing. 8 straight. What a game that was last night, by the way. Eagles are not the only good team in the NFC, everybody. Those were 2 good football teams last night. Nice day, Sills. How you doing?
You made an interesting comment before we went on the air. You said this, and it's an astute, believe it or not, take by you. You said this.
One of many.
That team won with all the deficiencies on that side of the ball defensively, with all the faces not out there. And they went out there against a pretty good Packer team and shut that offense down, which has been pretty good over the last month and a half. And you're right. That comes back to coaching, man. And that comes back to that coaching staff. Zander, you see a lot of similarities between Nick and Dan Campbell. I don't know, man.
I don't.
You don't really? There's something.
I see basically zero. I mean, other than that, they're both aggressive.
Tell me why.
Well, I think they're different types of coaches. They resonate with their players in completely different ways. And I don't like that everybody just wants to compare the two because they're both aggressive. By the way, if they were racing in that regard, then Dan Campbell's won that too because he went for it on his own 31. He didn't give a shit what anybody said. And we can sit here and criticize it right now. He still won't give a shit. So he won that race too. Look, I like Dan Campbell.
That's a fucking fucked up
I know
move.
Eagles fans don't want to hear that. I like Dan Campbell. I like Dan Campbell a lot. He is a cool coach. He is fun to watch. And look, he does some crazy things, but he believes in what he believes. And, he's willing to live with those results regardless of what they are. And I can respect the way he does that. Now, Nick, maybe I was too critical of him because that's what he was trying to do. But here's the difference. Nick got a little bit of shit in Philly. What's he done recently now?
I don't know. What has he done?
He's going for it less, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Okay. So a couple peeps from, some Big Z and Big Sills on YouTube, and Sirianni backs off. Dan Campbell had to sell his multi-million-dollar house because Detroit looted it because he was too aggressive last year. He don't give a shit. This was personal for him. It's not just him. It's his wife, his kids.
They were putting for sale signs on his front lawn.
He did. He sold his home. He moved. So my point is just like, this guy sticks to his guns. He doesn't give a shit. You can kick him out of his own damn house. He doesn't care. He's sticking to what his guns. And I can respect that, but really good football team. And now with that being said, I am going to give you some flack on your take on Nick earlier on the show.
Okay.
I think you're giving him an obituary too early here. I mean, you're not wrong in that his win percentage means nothing. But before you jump in, can I give you a list of coaches real quick? Don Shula. Is he the greatest NFL coach of all time? No, I'm not saying these coaches to compare Nick to them. I'm not. I'm more doing how far off are we from ever even being considered in that conversation. I'm not comparing Nick to those guys. Don Shula, winningest NFL coach of all time. He had 10 seasons before his first Super Bowl win. Bill Belichick, second winningest coach of all time. 7 seasons before his first Super Bowl win. Andy Reid, a fan favorite in Philly. Coach here for 14 years. 21 seasons before his first Super Bowl win. Tom Landry, your wife's favorite, if I'm not mistaken. That was who your
Correct.
wife liked back in the day.
Correct.
12 seasons before his first Super Bowl win. Now, I'm not saying Nick's ever going to get there, and I respect that you're like, I need to see it first.
That's
But I'm
a
not
great
ready to
metric.
write. I'm not ready to say Nick is not a good coach. Right
That's
now, he's done a pretty good job. He's got his moments, but he's learning, man.
a great metric.
It is, right? I mean, those
Yeah.
coaches are now. There's coaches out there who won earlier, but look, Mike Tomlin won his 3 years in the league, and he hasn't won one since what? 09, 010? When was the last one they won? The Steelers. The Steelers.
Geez, he hasn't won a playoff game in 9. I mean,
I'm
last
just saying,
9
like
years.
I'm not, and like I said, I don't. That doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I'm saying that Nick is going to get there. It's a hard thing to get there, but we
don't you
can't. I'm not
agree?
going to judge who he is as a coach yet. I'm just going to judge the right now, and he
Okay.
does make some mistakes, but all in all, it's been pretty good.
Okay, every one of those coaches you mentioned, though, had complete autonomy of their direction and their
That's
own history, where they were picking their coaches, the personnel, they were picking many things and style of play, everything that they wanted. You know how you know that with Shula? Shula went from a dominant running attack with Larry Zonka and Kick and
Right.
Mercury Morris. All of a sudden, 5-10 years later, he gets Dan Marino. You know why he was able to flip the switch? He didn't have to go upstairs and talk to fucking Jeffrey Lurie or Howie Roseman that they were going to change a mentality. You know what they did? He changed it because they got Marino. And that's why that transition. Here's what I think happened here. And Nick even said it today. You know what aggravates me the most about Nick? Can I tell you, it was said today at his presser.
I don't like him being a child, but go ahead. You give me yours.
Okay. I don't like when he says this roster that Howie builds. Dude, it should be it should be together you're building it. It shouldn't be Howie's total say on what
Right.
if Parcells had a famous line that said this. Hey, dude, you want me to go shopping, but yet you don't want me to pick out the items at the grocery store.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
It's like a little kid. You bring them along for the ride. They don't have any say in the process. It's weird.
I hate when I heard him say that again today, that, hey, Howie does a great job of building the roster. Now, look, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a personnel guy, but dude, name me a place where the personnel department is completely in charge and the head coach has no say. Shit doesn't go along. Ozzie Newsome used to come on my show all the time when he was the GM of the Ravens. And I asked him, by the way, we also had Kevin Colbert on about 2 years ago, who was the GM of the Steelers. You know what he said on this show? Mike Tomlin doesn't work for me. I work with Mike Tomlin. And in the offseason, I do these interviews, Dan. You know that during the season, I'm never to be seen, and I never do interviews because that's Mike's time to coach what he has. I get out of the way. Howie doesn't get out of the way. I'm not this here. 2 of the last 3 years, Howie has done a really good job, especially in free agency. Added now with the component that you have these 2 kids playing great ball, okay, in the secondary for you, it's really been 2 of the 3 years, he's been really good. I mean, dude, the Becton and Barkley move are better than anything he did in 22.
Yeah.
And better than anything. Again, my problem with Nick comes down to, when I look at him, do I like him? Yes. Do the players like him?
See, that's my issue. I don't.
But here, do I trust him when things go fucked up and go south? No. I've never seen him solve a problem. And this year, you know who I believe solved the problem of the Eagles? Barkley. They went into that going like this. Well, shit. And they still do it. Zander, the first 25 plays has Nick Sirianni's fingers all over it. Has Nick's fingers all over it. When they get out of that, all of a sudden, they are the best second and third and fourth quarter football team in the league when it comes to dominating people. But in the first quarter, you know what they have? You know what Zander said to me on Sunday? Fuck, man, Barkley went for 12, and then they went pass, flare. And you went like this. Why? And I went, Nick.
Yeah, but
you
how
spend a whole week on those plays, Zander, designing those first 15 to 25. Even Brian Westbrook goes, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, because I think what you said first before you got into that was valid about Nick doesn't have full autonomy.
Right.
Wouldn't that, in your opinion, then have to shade how you judge and how you view Nick Sirianni, because you could say, well, this is organizational more than anything. We don't know what Nick's capabilities are. We don't know how good of a coach he is because everything is not all Nick Sirianni. And then similarly to what you just said about the first 25 plays, how are we so sure that that's Nick Sirianni? Like, if they have so much autonomy that they're not even letting him pick a guy on the roster, why are we so sure that the whole pass happy philosophy is not what Nick wants to do? Because when I think about it, that looks like a bookworm move. Football guys don't want to not run the ball, Dan. I know everybody wants to pass. Even the greatest passers in the world, they want to run the ball.
Yeah.
This is a physical game first.
Well, Philly doesn't want to run the ball. Why doesn't Philly want to run the ball in the first quarter then?
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, all right, I get what you're saying. And I'm not saying what
you're
you're saying is wrong. But I have a hard time criticizing Nick Sirianni and removing the fact that the organization has done what they've done.
The only difference, what we're saying here, is you're giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not.
I'm not necessarily giving Nick the benefit of the doubt. I'm just wondering if
you are. You're saying that. How do you know if he's a good coach or not? When I say to you, I say this: well, any good coach worth their salt would have fucking autonomy in that first 25 and say, "Hey, let me step back here and let's run the ball."
Well, I hate to say this, dude, but you're the one in this situation that would have the burden of proof because that's what this organization.
I don't know. I have the burden of proof. They suck in the first quarter.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is that it's not all Nick fueled. Everybody thinks it's Nick. Why? I don't think it's all Nick. I think it's
what is that first 25?
I think it's an organizational philosophy that we must establish the pass first and run the closeout game.
That's not having authority over your roster.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
So when you say that, when you take the power of a guy who's 10-2 and you don't allow him the first 25 plays, and you're saying that that's an organizational mentality, do you think that general manager has say completely in his own fate, in his own way that they do business, if the organization is making suggestions for you?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but when I look at the things that we do,
you see the results.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, though. When I look at the things we do know, well, it looks like there is a lot of the front office loves have their hands in things, which some people might have no issue with that. We've been relatively successful, right? I mean, we have been a successful organization. We haven't quite reached Super Bowls or won a lot of Super Bowls, but we have been successful. So I'm not going to dive into that. I mean, I don't exactly know, but my point to you early was I think Nick has been pretty good given the circumstance. Has he done some boneheaded shit? Of course. Is he learning? Of course. Dan Campbell's done some boneheaded shit too.
NFC Championship game, but he had the lead in that thing and gagged it away. Gagged it away here. Now here.
I think we're all right with Nick. Like, I really do. I don't think he's going to hold us back.
So you've given him the benefit of the doubt of the 1-6 meltdown and the 2-2 start. You're now okay. And you're giving him a pass for that, saying, hey, guess what? He's learning on the job like these other coaches who have spent a boatload of years. Like you said, took Shula 10 years and almost a decade. And some of these other guys, Andy Reid, 15 years. You think
21 years for Andy, which is crazy.
You think that is just, hey, I think it looks more like front running to me, where when things are bad, that's when I want to see a great head coach, not when things are great.
I think that's fair. I mean, I don't think I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. If you ask me my biggest concerns right now about the Eagles, I can't say Nick Sirianni would be top 3. Like, you want to get to the Super Bowl this year, Zander? What are your top 3 concerns that what would stop you from getting there? I don't think Nick's in the top 3 right now.
Okay. What do you think are the top 3?
I think the passing game is the number 1. Actually, I'll go slow starts number 1, because if you start slow on these good teams, you say they're going to put you out of your misery quick. And I don't want that to happen. So I think you could say probably the slow starts 1, which I really think is easily fixable. Hand the ball to Saquon Barkley. Stop being cute. Be who you are. Embrace who you are. Big Sills are going to be Big Sills. I'm going to be Big Z. Flex is going to be Flex. Everybody got to be who they are. Be who you fucking are. You get the best O-line in football. Get the best running back in football. Stop being cute. Stop being cute to appease Sileo, who wants passing yards. Fuck the passing yards. All right? Go out there and bully people.
I want the RPO yards.
So that's, again, I think that's easily fixable. Number 2, passing offense. If you do get into that game, last night, we watched 2 great NFC teams. A lot of Eagles fans saying on here, on social media, and I'm good with it. They're saying, hey, I'm confident we can beat that team. Okay, I feel good too. Detroit is the number 3 passing offense in the NFL, along with the number 3 running attack. Right. So they are more balanced of a team than we are. If they need to pass, they can do it. If they need to run, they can do it. Right now, technically, we're a two-headed running monster with Jalen. But if for whatever reason that does get taken away, we're going to be relying on Jalen to make the throws. I believe he can, because if A.J. Brown's in single coverage, I think Jalen's going to make that throw, as he has many times before. But we are leaving that more up to debate. I mean, if you go and look at right now, the bottom 10, actually, let's do it, because you know what? I'd rather be the most accurate I can. If you look at the bottom 10 passing offenses in the NFL, none of them are Super Bowl contenders, except for the Eagles. Not one of them.
Right. They're 28th.
Right. So that's,
by the way, Carolina on Sunday's 29th.
So here's the top total offense. Eagles are 3, right? Okay. All good there. Ravens 1, Lions 2. All good. Good with total offense. Passing offense. Bengals 1, Lions are 3rd, Ravens are 4th, Vikings are 9th, Packers are tied at 9th, the exact same average per game as the Vikings. Chiefs are 12, Eagles all the way down at 28. Now 32nd is the Patriots, 31st is the Giants, 30th is the Titans, 29 is the Panthers, 27 is the Bears, 26 is the Colts, 25th is the Jags, 24th Chargers, 23rd Jets.
Those are all horrible passing.
They're all horrible teams. They're all horrible teams. So that's why it's my second biggest concern, because you don't want to be clumped with those groups. I'm not saying you have to be the best passing offense in the NFL, but you can't be clumped. I mean, let me read you those bottom 5 again. Patriots, Giants, Titans, Panthers, Eagles. You don't want to be clumped with those teams. So that passing offense it's almost gotten to a point where you should almost think it's like, should we take a little bit away from Barkley just for fun? Because we need to get this thing going a little bit. It's like you pull an old car off the shelf. You got to let that motor warm up a little bit, man. You got to let some oil get through that thing.
I don't believe you're going to flip a switch and all of a sudden you're going to have a 375-yard game, because I just haven't seen it in a year and a half. I mean, that's not going to work like that, man. I mean, I don't see that. I mean, I don't see where that's improved anywhere in there. I mean, now, that this is a debate question and this is an opinion, but I just haven't seen them do it. Dude, completely the offense has improved because of one man. And
I don't know what my third would be, by the way, on my top 3 concerns.
Tell me. Mine's
I'm leaning towards something that people won't like, which is fine.
Depth.
Okay, that's a better one than mine. So I could put depth at 3rd. Depth is definitely 3rd. But if I had to say the one I was going to say, just for the sake of the conversation and to gauge the thoughts of the people, my concern would be, as excited and as happy as I am about this defense, you're now going into a little bit of uncharted territory of you're late in the year. Can they sustain what they've been? Because what they have been is the reason that we can run the ball so consistently. So I'm not saying they're going to have this crazy drop-off and they're going to suck all of a sudden. But you know how it is. On any given Sunday, a team can come in and make a number 1 defense look like a number 31st defense. All it takes is a couple big plays. So if we do get into a spot where that defense can hold up, what does our team look like there? Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but boy, we've been playing at a pretty insane level. And think about it. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Nakobe Dean, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. These are all rookie contract players. So you're relying on a lot of contributors on rookie contracts to play great defense, not just great, excellent, best in the NFL defense late into January. That to me can be viewed as somewhat of a concern. I think they'll be able to do it, but it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
I think they're younger this year than they were in 22, so that should be an issue that helps them. And I think they've upgraded the old line from 22. I think that
the line looks insane, man.
I think Micaiah Becton is better than Isaac Seumalo, and I think that Jason Kelsey was running out of gas last year at the end of the year, and I think Cam Jurgens has added more juice to that old line. I think that old line is better than the Super Bowl line that you had of 22, and actually, I think it's better than the 17 line that you had. And now, look, Jason Peters didn't play in that Super Bowl in the postseason, so that's the only reason why I'm saying that, because Peters is one of the great players of all time. But, dude, at the end of the day, this is the best line the Eagles have had in the last, let's just say it, since the Super Bowl.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Here's a good comeback. And Wombat checks in. Appreciate it. He says, yeah, but that's what they're here to do, Z. This is the NFL, man. And I agree. But listen, do you have any concern that Lane Johnson will fall off at the end of this season in the playoffs?
No.
Okay. Do you have any concern that Nolan Smith will be able to play good in the playoffs?
Yes.
Jacoby Dean will.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's huge, but it's bigger than when you're talking about veteran guys that you can rely on. It's a bigger question. I'm not indicting them, but you're right. I mean, I hear you, Wombat, no doubt.
Okay, but they've never played in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why the question marks remain a little bit more. And by the way, you're right about the offensive line. They've been insane.
Zach Bond's never been in that environment.
True. Again, another question. He's never played this many snaps. What does he look like?
He's never played championship football.
I mean, listen, ask any NFL player. I've never played in the NFL, obviously. Big Sills has. You feel a lot worse on your body in the last 8 games of the year than you do in the first 10 games of the year.
It's the most insane thing you've ever felt. Yeah, Zander, I'll give you a great, because this probably happened to you. You ever gone swimming and you swam all day and all of a sudden you got a haze in your eyes? You got that haze, right? You know what that haze is from for an NFL player? Taking Percocets, Percodans, trying to fight the fucking pain that you have in your back, your ankle, your wrist, whatever. And by the end of the year, you're a zombie, dude. So you have to have really good people and doctors around you to keep that thing going. Eagles have pretty good doctors. They got a great organization that takes care of them when it comes to that stuff. But hey, dude, listen. Again, I'll throw my opinion, and I'll get yours here on Carolina here in a second. By the way, we'll read all supers at the very end of this. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button here. So I asked this question too. What does 44-19 mean to you?
Not a whole lot right now, but it means he's on a good pace. And, couple that with what I told you earlier about coaches, I feel pretty good right now about Nick. I mean, is he learning? Of course, but the 44-19, yeah, it doesn't mean much.
Not Nick. This is not Nick. This is
everything. Gotcha.
This is everything.
Yeah, I mean, you feel good about it, but you don't want to be the greatest winning regular season football team of all time. Like, it's great, and it's a good synopsis of how good our football team has been for a while. But if you don't ultimately couple that with hardware, then I think it's going to fall on deaf ears and ultimately won't withstand the test of time in the history books. I mean, you don't tell stories about teams that are 13-3 every year. Think about it. The Cowboys. I mean, we bust on the Cowboys for that right now, all the time. Oh, they won 12 games every year. Like, it's great. It's cool. But if it's not ultimately capped with a Super Bowl ring, it's going to be a lot less cool. And I'll even say this. If it is capped with a Super Bowl ring, how much more cool does that become?
Oh,
because now you're like, what a dominant era or what a dominant period in Eagles history. Right.
It validates the entire 5 years. And this is what I said about it. And you know what? All kidding aside about it. If you're in the 90s and the 80s, okay, you probably have 3 or 4 Super Bowls because everybody's staying put. Nobody's free agency. You're this and that. Zander, 42, 44, 19, back then, you got 2-3 Super Bowls because.
Well, to be fair, we probably wouldn't have the guys we do in that era either because a lot of them were acquired through.
You're not getting rid of TJ Edwards. You're not getting rid of Sam Mallow. You're not getting rid of Hargrave. Those guys were, and you were stockpiling talent. So your second team would be even better. So the point of what they're doing in a salary cap era at being 42 and 44 and 19 is fucking great. It's absolutely a great thing. But what made the Patriots great? They finished it. They closed it out with all that during the salary cap era. And they did it in an era of Manning. Remember something. Peyton Manning, if he's in a different era, he probably wins 8 Super Bowls.
Yeah, it's true.
But he's in the Brady era. That's what made what those dudes did. They ran through the fucking tape. The Eagles have to run through the tape, or you're going to look back on this and go, what could have been? Because you know what Eagle fans do now? They look back at Andy Reid's time going, hey, I love Doug. You know why I love Doug more than Andy? He brought the chip home. Andy fell on his face at the end. People in Philly don't look at Andy Reid's time other than this. He set the stage for the blueprint of how we do business and how the owner does business. He was a phenomenal coach, but he never won. I mean, dude, can you imagine being considered the best coach in Eagle history and having an Eagle fan say this? Yeah, but he wasn't a winner.
It's true. It's what the knock is on Andy right now.
That sucks.
Yeah, it sucks big time. There's no doubt.
Because and now when you're watching what he's doing in Kansas City, you're like, fuck, he should have been doing that. My point is, dude, don't let this era go down with regret.
Yeah, but right now, look, it's still early, don't you? I mean, I guess it's not. It's
fourth year.
Yeah, so it's not early. I mean, you're right. You got to get there, but you're not going to win the bowl every year. Like if you can put yourself in even the best. I mean, Brady didn't win it every year. You're not going to win every year. So to think that is stupid. There's going to be years you have. If you can continue to get better, continue to keep the pieces there,
you need one.
You win 12, 13 wins a year. You know, you're going to be in the room, and then when the stars align, as Johnny Mack always says, that gives you the best chance to go and win. But right now they're doing it. They just got to get to the finish line.
How about this, Martez? Who fucking is talking about the Lions? The Lions haven't been good in 54 fucking years.
Yeah,
you've been good for 30. Okay? What if the Lions won? That's right. The Lions are in a room right now where they've never been. You've been here now for half a decade. That's the difference.
What's this? Sirianni's fifth year? Is this Sirianni's fifth season?
No, 21. I think it's his fourth year. 21, 22, 23, 24.
Yeah.
4 years.
So, I mean, look.
Doug's last year was 20.
Right. It's his fourth season.
It's his fourth year. Okay? And by the way, Prince, it ain't a what-if game. This is where you are now. You're 44-19. I'm asking you what the fuck you're talking about. What have you accomplished right now? You know what you have accomplished? Living up to the expectations that the organization set at the beginning of the year. Here is the only thing you've accomplished. All the goals that the Eagle organization put in front of everybody when they had their individual meetings and team meetings and said, this is our goals. Right now on December 6th, you are living up to those goals right now. However, you've got to run through the tape. They are where they thought they would be right now. So they are living up. It's the only thing you've accomplished.
Yeah, but I think his point is, look, his point is more a response to me saying, could the defense drop off? Because he's making a good point, Prince. He says, we have a DC who knows how to prepare his players. That's a good rebuttal to, is the defense going to drop off? You're right. Vic has earned the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, he has right now. So I think that's fair, Prince. I see what you're saying.
Let me ask you this then, Prince. So what you're saying, Prince, is even with this three-man rotation now, you're confident that three-man rotation, he's going to come up with a way like Jim Johnson did or Jim Schwartz to be able to have lesser talent and still get production, not having Brandon Graham in there. Because you're giving Vic the benefit of the doubt, right, Zander? You're giving Vic the benefit of the doubt
that at least
ready.
Yeah, I think he's earned at least that with what he's been able to do. I mean, don't you think one of the best signs of a coordinator's success is how well young players are playing?
Yes.
Right? Doesn't that show you like
actually, it's how quick the communication? It's how quick the communication has been absorbed by the younger players, and how, dude, the craziest thing I've ever seen is that you got so many new faces back there and so many new guys back there, and they're all on the same wavelength. Is unreal. It's great.
It is, and I think that's
the head
credit
coach.
to Vic, right?
Yeah, completely on Vic.
Yeah, that's a credit to Vic. So it is a good point there that Prince brought up. Vic has been good, but I mean, what are your top three? I mean, I think my three are pretty valid. Where one, you can't start slow versus everybody. Two was passing game. You know, what's it going to look like? And three is, could the defense fall off? But I think your depth one is better. But what would be your biggest concerns for the Eagles right now in terms of, I know you're objective, I know you're not a fan, but if you viewed it and said, okay, for the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl, they need to do this, what would be the three things that would stop them from getting there for you?
Right now, health. I mean, their depth right now bothers me on defense. Your edge rushing. And by the way, you lose a linebacker, who steps in? Okay. I mean, right now, again, you got 5 games remaining. Man, to me, I just wish the season ended today so you can start the playoffs right now and you could go in with this roster. But
I bet you the Lions are saying the same thing, although they got a couple guys coming back, the Lions. That's the thing about them.
You know what, Zander, you know what's going to be crazy? You're going to hear me say this, and this sounds so bad and stupid, but shit, man, if I got a 10, 15, 20-point lead in the third quarter, man, I want to get those guys' asses out of there, get some guys some more reps. I want to start getting the Kenny Gainwell train going. Let him get his 109 so he passes Shady. Barkley, get Shipley some reps because you never know when you're going to need these guys.
You got to throw that ball, man. Devontae Smith's back. Get him the ball 8 to 10 times this year.
Do you really want to put him out there in a position where he can get?
He's playing. He already said today he's playing.
No. Do you really want to start throwing the ball around right now in a game that fucking, quite frankly, you're just looking to get out? The Eagles are looking to get the win and get out of there healthy.
Okay, if it's 14-0, let's say the Birds go up 14-0, I'm coming out and throwing the ball. Yes, it's worth it to me to sacrifice some running yards or some of that to get this thing going.
Possessions, too.
It's common knowledge. You can't just put something on the shelf and then expect that you're going to resuscitate. It's going to work perfectly when you pull it off the shelf. I mean, they got to keep that going a little bit. I would get the ball to Devontae Smith, get the ball to A.J. Brown. All the other people, I don't give a shit about Jahan Dotson. Get your main guys the ball involved.
If you do that, though, Zander, and you're not hitting on all cylinders, what do? You keep the Panthers in the game by doing that shit because this is what happens in the first.
Okay, let me ask you this. Would you rather keep the Panthers in the game or would you rather it cost you in the playoffs? That's where I don't want to be stupid about seeding.
Yeah, but right now I'm more worried about injuries than I am worried about continuity.
Okay, that's fine.
I got
you want to put the Panthers out of their misery and sit your guys.
I just want to put them to sleep. And I want to run them over 8 times when they're on.
I'm fine with that. Yeah. I still would probably lean toward getting this passing game going. I mean, shit, if you can't because this is the thing. The organization's philosophy is and has been told many times that they want to pass to get the lead and then run to close it out.
They want explosion plays.
Through 12 games, we have yet to pass to get the lead.
Yes.
We have not done that yet. If you can't do that versus the Panthers, the 26th ranked passing defense in the NFL, I think you got a big problem.
You know what? That's funny you should say that. Let me read you what I wrote. This is what I wrote about the Panther game. I was going to – this was my take. This is my prediction here. There's not really a threat in this game on Sunday, in my opinion. To me, it's about staying healthy. I wrote this down here. It'd be great to get the first quarter going. And with Smitty back, I'd like what you just said, Zander. I'd like to see some continuity at that with the passing game here. I mean, and this is what I just wrote, what you said. I mean, if you can't get that first quarter going and you can't get the passing game going and you can't show a rhythm against the Panthers in the first quarters, you're going to have issues going into the postseason, in my opinion, because they have nothing to offer. They have nothing to offer here. I said that, there's no question here. You got to run the ball. I'd like to see a little bit more of Shipley and Gainwell going in this ball game. I mean, my work concern also on workload for Barkley. I mean, dude, you've been running that engine with the foot down on the pedal the entire season. He has not had a break the entire year, and they have had the gas pedal at the floor the whole season. Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice to get him his 109 and then get him out of there and sit him for like a quarter and a half, giving him like another kind of small buy? Yeah, I know they're resting him during the week, but shit.
Do you have any fear with that record talk? Because I know we've said both clearly that we'd love to see him get that record, but is that one think about that? You're like, it's like a race car. I mean, you just said it, pedal to the floor. You go all the way, man. But once you reach that finish line, your wheels fall off, for crying out loud. Like, we're not playing really for that. We're playing for a longer race. You got to pace yourself a little bit. Is that fair, or is that whatever? You can't legislate it.
I got a very interesting text from a friend of mine at WIP by the name of Ike Reese. You know who he is?
Ike Reese? Yeah, I know who Ike Reese is. He's phenomenal. He's probably the best guy WIP has, at least in my opinion.
Ike said this. He goes, "I'm with you, Sills. A fucking record. I'm going full board for it. I want that bitch. The organization want." So Westbrook, him, everyone I've talked to, all the players want him to get that. They want him to get that record. Okay? So it's a balancing act. You listen to John and you listen to coaches. They're not wrong either. They're not wrong either. Hey, look, do I want him to get banged up, and do I want him to trip coming out of the NovaCare Center? I don't want any. I want him to be as healthy as he possibly. John's
Yeah,
not wrong. I see both sides of it. I do.
Yeah.
I do. But for me, dude, if I'm 100 yards shy of that record, sorry, man. Well, I'm going to tell Jalen. Tell you what, Jalen, we're gonna tee it up, and we're gonna do this because this is a record for everyone, dude. You'll remember that for the rest of your lives. Say you get tripped up and something happens in the playoffs. Don't come out of the season with nothing but 10-2. Fuck, man. Have something that you were like. One thing about the Brady thing, when Brady went 17-0 and they tripped up in the Super Bowl, it was an iconic year for him. Brady hates that year. He fucking hates it. All the records he broke, he threw for 50 touchdowns that season. Brady was like this, Moss had an iconic year. He had 21 touchdown passes.
It's a good example, isn't it?
I mean, right? I mean,
it's the perfect example. It really is. You went perfect every day. Think about it. We'd be doing this talk show. There's not a thing you could complain about. You'd be 12-0, not a thing wrong. And then the one day they mess it up and it ruins everything that you did.
Everything
it shows you though how much this is a game of inches and how much every little detail matters. And you got to put, you got to handle.
And a 10-6 team beat them.
Hey, what'd you think of that game last night, Bob? I know we talked about it very briefly, but what'd you think of that thing? Because I thought that was probably your two best NFC team. I think it's those two. I know you have the Vikings. I think it's those two and the Eagles are the top three, in my opinion.
I look at Minnesota. You know what? I should probably respect Minnesota more.
Yeah, me too.
Because of their defense and their run game. I should probably respect the fact that the head coach is a good coach and they've got some good things going on. Their old line is very underrated.
We've got Sam Darnold playing well. I mean, he's really done a decent job. Yeah,
they have basically coached the shittiness out of Sam Darnold up there, which is amazing when two franchise bombed on it. But last night, I mean, I think it shows you a great example of what I talk about when it comes to balance, especially when it comes to the Lions last night. They won that game because of golf last night. 32 of 41, 283, 3 touchdowns, almost 80% completion percentage against Green Bay. And look at the other guys. I mean, 14 carries for 51 yards for Montgomery. The other guy, Gibbs, had 15 carries.
They didn't do much.
It was all golf.
Yeah.
And to put in perspective of golf's going to throw for 4,300 yards, 33 touchdowns, 109 rating, and he's going to throw for 73% completion percentage. And he's 12-1 right now. And he just beat Jordan Love. I mean, I'm telling you, man, the thing that gives me concerns about the Eagles is that, okay, you stop the run. Say you stop the run. Are you going to be able to stop both of it with no pressure? I mean, you're going against the best. You can make the argument the Lions have a better line than you. Like, how about this? If you I'll tell you what. But wait a minute.
Wait, but
if you want to keep last night, though, I'll tell you what, they got the best offensive lineman on that unit.
Penei Sewell?
Yeah. He's the best old lineman in the league.
I don't know
think it's close. Who's close?
Mailata, I think.
No way. Dude, the number 1 rated old lineman in pro football right now is Penei Sewell.
It's not. He's actually not. The number 1 rated, if you go by
PFF. The other guy.
No, the number 1 on PFF right now is Mailata.
Oh, well,
but it's PFF. I mean, look, everybody likes what they like. You don't have to like PFF.
I'm taking Penei Sewell.
Yeah, Lane's up there too. Nuclear. Like I watched Penei Sewell last night, and
who do you think is going to be first team All Pro? Mailata?
I know your guy. I know they're going to be first team All Pro because everybody's tired of Lane Johnson and everybody loves Penei Sewell.
No. Mailata plays left side.
Mailata plays right. Mailata plays left. Yeah,
okay.
Right side is going to be Sewell.
That's right.
I don't know. I watched that offensive line last night. They're good. They're impressive, but you see cracks, and I don't see cracks when I watch the Eagles' offensive line. Not very much. Not very much. Do you see?
I see cracks in pass protection.
Yeah, but is that on them or is that more on just Jalen's style? And I'm not even criticizing Jalen, but he does move around a lot. It makes it a lot harder for block for a guy like that. I mean, that's just reality. Jared Goff ain't going anywhere.
You're a unit. Okay, the quarterback and the O-line. Here's the difference. You want to know also the difference between Goff and Jalen Hurts? It's totally on display last night. You know what it was? Jared Goff's been calling pass protections his entire life.
And he's really good at it.
And get this. This is the first year this guy's been doing this. This is the first year that Jalen's actually acted like a true NFL quarterback by taking all the responsibilities that have been asked for him this year. And that guy's been doing that since Cal. He's been doing it since the Rams. I mean, it's second nature to that guy.
That's true.
Okay, this is the first year this dude is, and he's still taking pocket sacks. You're wrong, not wrong about the moving around. You know where Jared Goff is in the pocket.
Yeah.
You know as a blocker where he is.
Yeah.
How many times has Jalen run himself into sacks? I'd say 30% of the time.
I think that's even a little generous. I think you're right. I mean, I'm not taking away what you're saying, but my point was,
realize the NFC.
I think the Eagles' offensive line is better than the Lions' offensive line.
I don't think by a lot. I think it's right there. I think, but you get this.
Well, I'm just wondering, like,
their centers.
You just gave me the stats for the running backs last night. You think that defense would have been able to stop Saquon like that? They held them to like 3 yards, 2.9 yards a carry. Like, and I'm not saying that's a credit to Saquon being better. I'm saying our offensive line is blocking better.
I think Detroit's defense is where the Eagles may have them, because I think Detroit's defense.
Yeah, but dude, think about this.
I see oil on the ground.
I see oil too, but not everything there is unfixable. They do have some guys out for the year, but think about this. Look, a lot of people not high on the Lions or whatever. They weren't that impressed that last night. They didn't have their starting left tackle. They didn't have DJ Reader, their starting defensive tackle, who's a beast, by the way.
Fantastic player.
They lost to Lynn McNeil for like a quarter. I don't know if he finished up the game. I don't remember. But that's like not having Jordan Mailata, Jalen Carter, and Jordan Davis. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot of dudes in the trenches where those types of games are won in the NFC. Mm-hmm. So that Lions team they're gonna get better. They're maybe you never know how it happens. There might be some other injuries or something, but they got some big dudes coming back on that team. And by the way, Zadarius Smith, I'm impressed. That's a great pickup. I did not think he was going to be this good of an impact.
I thought he was slowing down in Cleveland.
Me too.
I would like to have had the Eagles make a play for him. Remember, I brought his name up and I go, hey, keep an eye on this guy, because this would be somebody that you can add to the depth level for
not the free point, Prince. Not the point, brother. I know Green Bay was missing the same. I'm comparing us to the Lions. The Lions are right now viewed as the top team in the NFC by most people. That's who I'm comparing us to. The Lions, they were missing those guys, so they're going to get better. They're the metric right now. They're 12-1.
And they were in the NFC Championship game last year, and they're trending that way again this year to get back to the NFC title game. I said 38-10. I don't really think that this thing's going to be – I don't really think this thing – and they're going to take care of business. They're going to run the shit out of the ball. I think it's 38-10. Yeah,
I like that score. I put 31-13. I just didn't think they would run it up that much.
Let me finish up here with the Lions. I think they're well coached. I like both coordinators. I think that Brad Holmes has done a sensational job with his draft picks.
He has very, very, very well.
And get this, the Matthew Stafford trade has just brought them Laporte, Sewell,
trade. Yeah,
Aiden Hutchinson, all that shit, man. All those guys were off of that trade, and they've all been grand slams. Like I said the other day, their tight end is more productive. Is he better than Goddard talent-wise? No, but he's there. And Goff spread the ball around for the first time in NFL history to 6 different people last night, and being able to run that spread offense last night. I mean, Zander, he reminds me a little bit of Purdy and how those guys spread the ball all around. They're great and read progressions. He's getting better and better and better. And I got to tell you something. We made a comment about Goff and Dak yesterday. How come it looks like to me that Goff is getting better and Dak's getting worse?
Goff is getting better. I know, like we had one commenter who's like, here's the reality with Detroit. They still have Jared Goff, who at any given moment can drop a stinker. And I'm like, you're not wrong, but like the same reason that we give
He's
Jalen credit
26
would be
and 7 the last
that's
2
what I
years.
mean. Like if you're going to give Jalen credit for what we give Jalen credit for, you got to be able to be objective and say, hey, Jared Goff has been a lot better. Like I'm not going to judge Jared Goff by who he was 5 years ago. The dude's winning. I mean, he's been really good.
And
He's
he
been
won
really
then.
freaking good.
And he won then when he was in Los Angeles with McVay. I mean,
You know what else I learned last night too in that watching that game? And it's ultimately probably will not happen, but I really wanted to get that fucking team out of Detroit, dude. I really did. Because that's a great stadium. They got a great fan base. I would maybe say that might be the second best fan base in the NFL behind the Eagles. I think that fan base is maybe it's just because they sucked ass for so many years that they got all jacked up, but that's a good fan base. I wanted to get those dudes out of Ford Field so bad. Now we still can, but you're asking them to lose 2 games of their last 4 when they're 12-1. I think that's a little bit of an uphill battle there.
Absolutely. And I would happen to say that I think that the Bills probably are the second, but I like that Lion fan base. But since December 6th, Xander, to your point, in 2022, if you look at it, let's see here, 9, 10, 11. Jared Goff was 31-8.
Pretty impressive.
Since they've turned that thing around where they've started winning, since December 6th of 2022, he's 31-8, dude. I mean, I don't know what people are fucking talking about. The guy is putting wins up for that team and changing the landscape of that franchise there. So, I think that they can do more than your offense. I think your offense is very limited. And I think it's powerful, though. I mean, your offensive running attack is the best in football, and no one's been able to stop it. But to this point, I've only seen one side of that football team. I have not seen the other side. Look, here's your offense. Dominant at the run. You run an amazing slant. Best slant pass I've seen to a wide receiver since Jerry Rice. It's undefensible. Well, Rice took those things to the house too. Yeah. Like the way you're seeing AJ. They couldn't defend it. Every single time I see AJ run that slant play, he's totally fucking open. And he's single covered because they're so afraid of the run game. I just think, again, the coaching, in my opinion, as an overall group, I think Detroit looks pretty good. By the way, that head coach, that offensive coordinator that they have there, he is going to be the hottest commodity. Did you hear what he said? I'm not picking a job. I'm picking one. So when somebody comes to recruit me and asks me, the only jobs that I'm interviewing for are the one that I'm taking, which means this. What a fucking last year he told him he wanted $18 million. Now he's telling him this. I'm only interviewing with one team next year. One team. And that's,
but why is he wrong? I know he's
not.
I know he comes off as an asshole, but sometimes
I don't mind my coach being an asshole.
Look at some of the coaches there that go to these organizations.
Yeah, die.
Like, dude, you're going there to die. The turnover rate on NFL coaches is insane.
Who wants that Jets job?
Look at Doug Peterson.
Who wants that Jags job?
None.
Look, if you're a college guy, you're Kirby Smart. Why the fuck would I leave Georgia making $11 million to go coach the Jaguars, who, by the way, will be firing me in 2 years? Why would I fucking take that job?
Is this a subtle factor late in the year? Think about it. Eagles Lions preparing for the NFC title game. Ben Johnson, reports of him it's the same thing in Philly. Remember with Gannon and Steichen? They tried to keep it under wraps. Gannon, I'll be back in Philly. He was gone the bench after the Super Bowl.
He's telling you he's moving
I wonder if the hype for Ben Johnson could become a distraction for Detroit when it matters the most.
Yeah, well, this is what his agent will tell you. Well, if the offensive coordinator wins the Super Bowl and you are a Super Bowl champion offensive coordinator, and I'm sitting down across from my owner, and you just saw what I did, that's going to cost you an extra $2 million. So let's just make it a cool 20. Or do you want to go down in flames where you got beaten, your offense stumbled around, and you go, we're going to have more of a vetting process because I'll tell you what, don't you want to finish it strong?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay? I
think Ben's playing the
right move. I think that Gannon job was promised already to him.
What's the best job, right? That right now you think will be this summer? Yeah.
The best NFL job. Jets is terrible. Jags will be terrible.
Terrible, terrible. Both
The
terrible.
Giants, depending if they get a new GM.
Terrible. Stop. They suck.
If
Stop.
they get they got to fire Schoen.
Dude, they've been a terrible organization under John Mara. I know they have 2 rings, but they don't win a lot of games. They have underachieved completely.
I get
They're not a great organization.
Like
I know you like
10 years.
the Maras.
10 years, they're 50 and 107.
It's brutal, brother. I don't want that job.
Carolina is a shitty job.
I don't think that guy's going to get fired yet either.
No, Dave Canales is not going to get
probably
fired.
won't
You
get
know, he's a
fired, yeah.
1-year coordinator too.
Yeah.
Vegas job is terrible because there's no quarterback there.
Yeah. And does Brady make it any more enticing? The guy won't. I don't know. I don't want that job.
No, I would not.
There's not. I'm telling you, there's not that many good jobs. Like if I'm Ben Johnson, I'm like, you better wow me, or else I'm staying right here in Detroit, where I'm going to have the best offense in the NFL and march my way back to.
You think Kyle Shanahan stays in
I don't.
San Francisco?
I thought for sure he would, but
you know what the rumor is? That
blowing it all up.
No. Here's the rumor that they would trade him.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, you saw Sean Payton get traded too, right?
Yeah. But they traded Gruden for 3 1s from the Raiders to the Bucks. So, I mean, could you see them trading?
I could see that. I could see him being a person
going to the Bears.
Yeah, I could see somebody trading for him. Boy, the Bears.
We do understand now that the Atlanta Falcons made a fuck-up mistake by not hiring Belichick.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and Raheem was good early in the year, but
Raheem is good. He's a good coach, but
he hasn't been great.
They made a mistake by not. You see that he interviewed for the UNC job?
Did he?
Yeah.
Wait a second. Are the Bears one of the better jobs this summer? I don't want to play for the Bears either.
The Bears are doing.
They got more talent in the room, that's for sure.
The Bears are doing some different things now up there because you know why? They're starting to put more offensive talent. They got DJ Moore. They ended up getting Keenan Allen up there. They got Caleb Williams. But see, my problem is this: you still have an old school mentality. I would look at everyone in the room going, now, who was the decision to pass on Jalen Carter again? Who made that call?
Well, I do think John's right about that, where some coaches have earned, like Howie doesn't have to worry about shit like that, taking that player. That player, if you go back, he was a risky pick in that draft. Coming off of the obviously the Georgia incident with the car accident, the death of the student, there was some questionable stuff. I'm not saying I didn't indict Jalen Carter. I think he's a good guy. I don't think he's a bad person, but look, let's be real, when you're getting vetted for the NFL draft, they're patting you down, man. Like they're really checking on everything.
They go back to high school.
A young GM. I think he was like, I can't risk my job over taking a player that has this many red flags. The Eagles, on the other hand, Howie Roseman has been around long enough. He had the go ahead, and it was easy for him to make that decision. But I do think that has to be factored in. GMs are another. Decision. Yeah, that's another job.
That wasn't his decision. You know whose decision it was? The owners.
Yeah.
You know how I know this? Did you not sign Michael Vick?
It's true. So true.
Okay. That owner did, you know what he did? That owner that you have doesn't mind a couple dents in the fender.
Yeah, which is good. I respect that about him.
I want that. I want that to be able to.
Yeah. I don't think human beings should be indicted on a single moment or a period of life or anything. Once
we know each other, we know what's up here, and we know that what kind of human you are, and I feel good about you. I'm gonna be okay with the dent in the fender, man. That's how Jimmy Johnson was too. Hey, you're gonna have a couple dents in the fender, man. But you know what? If you're a hard worker and you're willing to listen to me, I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to do some great things for you.
Yeah, I agree. Look at him awake. Sills never gives Howie credit. He's even stripping Jalen Carter away from him now. I'm awake.
No, I'm not.
He picked up on that. I love it.
Hey, how hard was
the owner who signed off on that?
No way. You think that guy made that call on that?
Shut up. Howie said, hey, I want to draft this
guy.
Had to do it. And Jeff said, yeah, do it. Go for it.
That guy had to call his dad up and go, Dad, hey, listen, you know the guy who murdered the guy in the car? You know, he's really a good guy. Had an opportunity. Bring him in. Let me talk to him. Okay. Hey, by the way, agent, I got to talk to my dad a little bit more. I'll get back with you in the morning. That's what they did. He had to call his dad. Wait a minute. You think Howie Roseman does anything without calling his father?
Dude, listen, when you're stroking $50 million checks and $300 million a year of somebody's money. You don't think you give them a fucking courtesy of a phone call?
Yes.
Are you crazy?
Hey, Dad, I'm going to sign Bryce Huff to a $51 million deal, Dad.
You don't spend $300 million in somebody's money, Sills, without a courtesy phone call.
Hey, Dad, I'm going to spend $51 million on Bryce Huff. Is that okay? Well, okay, you better be good. Yeah, okay, Dad. Hey, Dad, guess what? This guy may not be good, but guess what we got? We got one guy with $1.5 million, and his name is Zach Bond. Yeah, I know, but what about the other guy that you're paying who's sitting over there making $18 million a year? You think they move off that guy in the end?
Who, Bryce Hoffelschnoff?
Yeah.
I'm worried that we're going to get into a scenario. Ready? Let me play it out for everybody. Is this what's coming before I go? Huff's going to be out for the year. The offseason's going to come. We're going to have a lot of decisions to make. Maybe Josh Sweat can't come back. Maybe Milton Williams has to walk. And everybody is going to try and talk us into Bryce Huff is going to be a contributor on the team next year, and to bring him back, and you can't move on because the dead cap, and we have hope that he'll be better. We only saw 8 games. Is that going to happen? I have a feeling that's going to happen, and I might be the one doing it. By the way, I might be the guy like Bryce Huff is coming back.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, like Nick. Well, yeah, Jalen's a Pro Bowler.
They're not moving on from him yet. I don't see it. How? $51 million and they're moving on in 1 year? That's not that easy to do, dude.
No, you're gonna have to eat money, and you're gonna
have
eating
a lot of
trade
money.
him. You're gonna have
that $30 million dead cap we were about to pick back up.
So let me ask you this: would you rather go into the draft and draft a linebacker, or would you rather give Zach Bond $15 million?
They're not drafting a linebacker. Are you absolutely crazy?
Okay. Oh, wait. So then you're gonna go into the draft, or are you gonna draft, or are you gonna sign Mekhi Becton for $15 million?
I got a new fear at the linebacker position.
Tell me.
They're going to try and make Nakobe Dean, Zach Bond, and they're going to slide Nakobe over there, and then they're going to put Trotter at where Nakobe is now. Yeah, and they're going to save that $15 million, and they're not going to pay it to Bond, and they're excited because Nakobe's next to him now.
And they're going to draft a guy in the 3rd round.
I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll see. I'm just saying.
They're going to take a guy in the edge. They're going to take an edge.
Motherfuckers seem to let every linebacker go. So will they let Bond go? Who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yes, sir, baby. The musical chairs are Howie the Great.
Dad, I'm sorry I put that nightmare in your head, but that might be what they try and do. I do think they'll pay Nakobe Dean because he's a draft pick. Yeah, I think Howie will toot his horn on that and sign Nakobe Dean. And he's not wrong. I like Nakobe, but
hey, do we have any supers we got to read?
Let's see. Appreciate everybody. That was a fun Football Friday segment.
By the way, before you get out of here, I want to know what'd you say the game for you for the Carolina?
I put 31-13 for the Birds.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Sure. Yeah, no, they'll beat the shit. They should beat the shit out of them. Yeah.
Perez says Lane stopped Bosa with a torn groin, not even close.
Okay.
Lane is a beast. He does deserve. Yeah.
It's a great player.
We already read that one. Prince, thank you, bro. I've been pleasantly surprised by the growth and development of Jalix Hunt. He's being coached up well. I'm sure Graham is helping him. He's been pretty good.
Okay.
Not a contributor, but still, as a first-year guy who's a 3rd rounder.
I'm shocked he's even playing.
Remember, we talk about Milton highly now as a 3rd rounder.
Yeah,
no. Milton didn't do in his first year what Jalix is doing in his first year.
I'm shocked he's playing.
I agree. I think the hardest point, that's a credit to him.
You see the inside of a series at all this year, and they're playing him. I mean, that's a testament to him.
Look at this one. 304. Should Dallas hire Stout? He's not going to leave, dude.
He's not leaving that thing, man. By the way,
he wants his legacy to end like this, I think.
The 2 coaches that you have that you're going to have for the next 3 years are going to be Jeff Stoutland and Vic Fangio. And that's a good thing. Vic's not leaving anywhere because, look, you can't hire him as a D coordinator anywhere else because you can't make lateral moves in the NFL. And he's not, unless somebody comes out of their mind and pays him to be a head coach, which they're not, he's not leaving Philadelphia. He's going to go out an Eagle defensive coordinator, which is a good thing.
You know my worry. Shit, I'm giving everybody my worries now. Before I delivered the goods in the first 45 minutes, and now I'm giving everybody my worries. But you know what's a little weird about Vic, and I'm pretty sure it'll be all good and everything. But I know we want him to retire here, and it looks good, but 3 years in San Francisco, 4 years in Chicago, 3 years in Denver, 1 year in Miami, now a year in Philly. Like, I know he's got a great resume and he's been around for a while, but he hasn't particularly lasted one place for a long time or particularly held up, his end of the bargain consistently over
Why
the
do you think
years.
that is?
I don't know.
I think it's the way he wears people out with his honesty.
It might be.
Because
It
if
might
you're
be.
if you're a guy, and by the way, I think Vic took a shot at Howie the other day when he went like this. Guys think you can sign guys and give money to guys and just put them in there and
I
think
know.
they're going to be a 3-down guy. And I'm like,
I
who the
know.
fuck is he IDing, Huff? I think he just threw Howie under the bus there with that one. I was like, holy shit. And you know what? Nobody said anything after that. I'm like, hey, yeah, everybody thinks you could be a 3-down guy and throw a guy in there. That don't work like that. And I'm like,
right.
holy shit.
Marchetti says, who can stop our run that will force us to pass? It's
The
not
Eagles.
about that. It's more about if we don't get going like we'd have.
It's
Like
the
we did in
Eagles. Hey,
it's
Nick,
the Eagles.
you know who can? The Eagles.
Yeah, and then think about it. If the defense can't hold up against a team like the Lions for 4 straight drives, then you're down 14 or 21, Nick. Now we're throwing. So you're right. I don't think a defense will stop,
Bro,
but the Eagles
get
could.
out of that game Sunday alive is all I care about.
Brian says it's not just Nick. You can't forget about Julian. Yeah, he was talking about our debate early about Sirianni. Julian.
Hey, by the way, did you hear Nick say what he said today? Yeah, man, we rely heavily on analytics. I mean, analytics are stats.
Looks like Trill was on to my third concern before I even had a chance to say it. Good stuff here. He says 2 rookies and a few first-year starters on D. Hard to win a Super Bowl with that. Might not be what people want to hear, but the Super Bowl may take us a couple of years.
That
was kind of our original projection.
Yeah.
D, remember?
The defense right now has absolutely come along more than what I thought and where they are. Zander, I thought this thing would be better towards the end of the season. Instead, it was better by – what game do you think it was better by? Because now you look back in hindsight, I wasn't really sold until the Commander game, but they were good prior to that. So Bengals? You think that's when they started really playing their best ball?
They suck now. Poor Joe Burrow. Dude's playing MVP.
No. I'm talking the Eagles. I'm talking the Eagle defense. Do you think the Eagle defense, that's when they started really playing their best ball versus
the Bengals. Yeah, what week was the Bengals? 6?
Something like that. Coming out of the bye.
Well, they didn't play particularly bad versus the Browns. We just couldn't.
Yeah, but the Bengals offense was something that was more.
Yeah, remember they came out hot.
They didn't have Higgins, but other than that,
you guys remember the first Bengals drive? Joe Burrow was like 12 or 13 for 70 yards and a touchdown in that first drive, and then they shut him out after that. We got a couple more supers coming in. Uncle N8T3 Nate, I guess that says in the letters. Is Jalen Hurts' number equivalent to Josh Allen's this year? Let me pull up the legendary graphic that has now been tweeted to me. It might have been tweeted to me 50 times by now. I'm not even kidding you.
Let me ask you something. Do you think Josh Allen plays on the same type of talented offense that Jalen Hurts plays on?
No, clearly not. You didn't hear me say this shit, Sileo.
This is the stupidest shit on the planet.
I'm not ripping you, Uncle Nate.
This is
what everybody loves to talk about, though.
This is so fucking stupid.
Both 10-2, 3,000 yards to 2,979, 64% to 68%.
Name me one wide receiver he throws to.
27 total touchdowns to 26 total
Keon
touchdowns.
Coleman. Keon Coleman.
MVP Hurts.
Keon Coleman. They have a guy by the name of Devin Bush who runs the ball and won't have 1,000 yards. They don't have a receiver up there that will have a grand. And you have Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, and the best O-line according to Zander in football. And an MVP candidate, Barkley. And you're trying to fucking tell me that Josh Allen plays with the same talent. How dumb is this? This right here is the stupidest thing that you can possibly have. Josh Allen doesn't play with anybody in Buffalo.
He's got some dudes.
Who? Keon Coleman? Who the hell is Keon Coleman?
Prince says, you guys make me sick. Oh, Prince, you'll be all right. Lore
Yeah,
says,
Prince.
Dan, your favorite spot for Italian food in Philly. Lore, my mother's house.
Yeah. Hey, Zander, let me get to
Homemade, baby.
Hey, by the way, you understand that whole premise there with Josh Allen is that he's the engine and Hurts is the caboose.
You want me to hear so much that we love your boy.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to get Jason Cole on here. Get this, December 28th. He has to get these guys down to 10. We had Brian Westbrook on a couple days ago, right? And Westbrook knows that I'm friends with Jason Cole. And he goes like this, you think Cole's going to put Eric Allen on that final 10? I went, nope.
We'll see. All right, looking forward to your interview with Jason.
Right, let's see what he says here. Thanks. Hey, Zander, thank you, Big Fish.
Yep.
Hey, by the way, we'll read all supers at the end of our segment here with our friend Jason Cole, who is one of those 50 Hall of Fame voters. I'm probably putting words in his mouth right now, but let's bring in Jason Cole here.
Probably
our friend.
Probably putting words in my mouth.